Hi there everyone and welcome back to the Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club in Leeds. I've got the brand new Ping G430 Max 10K driver to review for you today. It's a driver that's made quite a big splash since it hit the market a few weeks ago. We've just got our hands on it. Want to say massive thanks to James Robinson, who's actually let me borrow the sample that he got sent to do this review. Over the last couple of years, we've not really got any product from Ping to do much testing with. You can see I've got some in my fitting cart behind me, but also the 10K is something that a lot of you have been asking for. So we've been putting reviews out over the past few weeks of obviously all the new drivers to hit the market. We haven't as yet hit this one, so I'm excited to do that. Ping is obviously a company many of you will have in your golf bags right now, and the 10K is obviously about the MOI and how stable and most forgiving driver that Ping say that they've ever made. So we're going to put it through its paces today here in the Performance Centre, but first let's have a bit of a chat about the technology. The first thing some of you will notice is how wet my jumper is. I've literally just walked outside here at the golf club. One of the reasons we're not doing this review outside, and we haven't done many of our reviews outside yet this year, is because the weather is terrible. This is what it looks like at the minute out the window here in Costa del Leeds. It's not very nice. It's pretty snowy, pretty horrible. But we're in the Performance Centre, in the warm, drying off, and we're going to put this driver through its paces. Now, obviously, G430 is not a new name to many of you. Some of you will already have some of their driver models in the bag. And Ping has always been a name kind of associated with hitting the ball pretty straight and forgiveness. And certainly G430 gave us lots of that. Obviously, there's three different models there. So we've got the SFT, the Max, and the LST. So the Max 10K is kind of addition to this family. So it's going to be the most forgiving version of that driver, but also I'm led to believe is a bit lower spin than you would imagine. Generally, anything with the word max on it means that it's going to go quite high, spin a lot, and maybe not go as far as some of the drivers that we'll have tested, certainly the LSTs of this world. But what you kind of give up in distance, you kind of gain in accuracy, and I'm led to believe that this driver kind of delivers a bit of both, really. So it'll be interesting to see that when we try it. Now, in terms of the tech, so if we look down on this driver, you'll see this carbon fly wrap crown that it has on the top of it. So this kind of wraps around the top of the driver and goes into the kind of some of the sole really as it goes around the back there. Now, what that allows Ping to do is save loads of weight so they can move it around in the head and make it perform even better. We've got the really large head shape when you sit it down. There's a big footprint. Ping are saying this is their sort of biggest, largest profile that they've ever made, something that obviously conforms to all of the different RNA and USGA standards, but it's kind of pushing the limits of it. So it's as big as they can make it from heel to toe. It's obviously conforming in terms of the head size, but the way they've kind of stretched this driver around, saved weight in certain places, and obviously made it a little bit more forgiving has enabled them to kind of really juice up how straight this driver can go, but also lower the spin in it a little bit as well. Because as I was saying before, generally the more you move the weight further away from the face, stretch this driver out, it's just going to make it launch really high in spin loads, which not everybody wants. Now, Ping have kind of got around this by making it sort of bigger this way, sort of from heel to toe, and not as stretched back as possible. So they've kind of really gone to the limit of how high the MOI can be, and hopefully this should give us some nice straight drives as well. We've still got the same adjustability that we see in all the Ping drivers. So we've got the flat settings as well as the adjustability in the loft too. We can see the turbulators on top of it as well. So this is something that is synonymous with Ping, and it's certainly you know a Ping driver when you look at it because of those on top of it. That's obviously to help the aerodynamics of this driver as well when it's moving through the air. We've also got a thinner face with what Ping calls spin consistency, which means obviously if you hit it at the heel and the toe, bottom, top, we should be getting spins more similar to a centered strike. Okay, so I'm pretty excited about testing this. There's been a lot of reviews out there that I've watched and read about this driver so far, and generally been pretty complimentary of it. And it's the first Ping driver I've had a chance to really review properly and hit in a while. So let's go hit some on the Trackman and see exactly how it performs. So the driver I have here is the 9-degree head. I've set it down to 8 and also in the flat position. So hoping to kind of stop the left shots really with this driver, because that tends to be the bad one that I hit. Generally, I normally hit a nice sort of draw, starts down the right hand side. So I want to kind of guard against that a little bit. So I've got the hazardous RDX smoke shaft in here, which I've used before and quite liked. So all of, you know, the way this driver's set up should suit me quite nicely. So let's have a few hits. I'll give you a bit of feedback as to what I'm sort of feeling and kind of seeing as I sit it down as well. I mean, the first thing to say is it looks massive, right? The head is huge. Some of you will love that and think, yeah, I can't miss this thing. For me, it's a bit too big. It also, I mean, those of you that watch the videos regularly know the kind of cleaner and more traditional a driver looks, the more I like it. So you probably know what I'm going to say about this. There's lots going on, yeah? There's obviously all the turbulators, you've got the carbon, you've got the contrast between the sort of matte black at the front, that carbon finish. For me, there's a bit too much going on the top of it. Some of you will use Ping all the time, absolutely love it, and I get that completely. And you know, my opinion isn't always right. You know, what I like and what you like can be very, very different things. But I'm just giving you my honest kind of feedback. It looks massive and it's not particularly attractive. But let's give it a hit and see how it performs. Now, when I've hit Ping drivers in the past, I've found them to be very, very straight, but maybe not got the distance that I would expect to get with some of the other ones that we've hit and some of the other ones that we've tested. But I've hit like 2 shots with this so far. The thing I can see, obviously you've not seen me hit them, but is the spin is much lower than I was expected to be. So let's hit a few with it. Like I said, there's that kind of huge kind of forgiving look to it, which is what I guess it's supposed to look like really. So let's give it a hit. It does feel very good off the face. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect it to sound and feel quite as good as this does, if I'm honest. I can see again, we've hit one there, it's got quite low spin, it's gone pretty straight, and the ball speed's up there just short of 170 miles an hour. So again, that's pretty good. I mean, those of you that can see that, just a nice little draw, which is what I want to hit. So everything about this driver is trying to hit it straight, but it's also supposed to be quite low spin, so it should kind of suit that higher club head speed player. Now, what I will say, the first few shots I've hit with it, the club head speed is a bit down on where I would normally expect it to be. I don't know whether that's just the way I'm swinging today, or whether it's just the massive size of the head that's doing that. So let's have a bit of a hit with it again. Again, it feels solid, nice. Nice and straight flight as well. Can't grumble too much about that. I mean, a little bit down there on the distance. Again, it felt a good strike. Ball speed just dropped a little bit. Spin has just popped up over 3,000 RPM, so a little bit higher than I'd want it to be, but it sent the stripe in the fairway and gone 301.5 yards. So, I mean, that's pretty good. What I would say, like I've just mentioned, is I'm not a big fan of the looks, but I love the feel, okay? So it feels great off the face. If you can get over, those of you that are traditionalists like myself, if you can get over the looks and the sort of size of it, you'll definitely love how it feels off the club face. And judging by those 2 shots I've just hit there, you'll love where they end up as well. Again, a little bit of a draw that time, just finished down the left, but not in any trouble. Again, higher spin, so 2,900 RPM. Carry around 275, gone 300. Again, just that kind of club and ball speed are a bit down on where I'd expect them to be. Like I said, I don't know whether that's just because of the size of the head or whether I'm just not hitting it particularly well, but we all have different days, don't we? I mean, I feel like I'm swinging it okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to hit some more. I'm going to hit probably another 10, 15 shots with it. Have a real good look at the numbers, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about all the data that we get, but also try and sort of compare it and link it to what I've already hit this season. So let me hit a few more and we'll have a look at the data. Let's take a look at these results then. So we can see in terms of the spin, 2,700 RPM, which is okay. It's a little bit higher than I'd want it to be. but I wouldn't expect the spin for this to be too low, really. I mean, we can see carry 285, 309 pretty much total distance, and 104 feet on average where it's kind of peaking at its apex. We can see 113.6 miles an hour, which is a bit down. I'm normally, if I'm swinging all right, 115, 116-ish. So, like I say, I don't know whether that's down to the size of the head and the kind of aerodynamics of it, and it just felt a bit awkward really swinging it. But I mean, looking at the sort of distances and speed, we're looking 167 ball speed, and you know, all in all, I'd be fairly happy with what I'm seeing there. And certainly of the Ping drivers that I've hit in the last couple of years, this is the one that I've got the most distance with, really. So at 308, 309 yards, it's not too bad. It'd be interesting when we start to do some comparison reviews as we go on, how this stacks up against some of the other drivers that have been released this year, and sort of as we look at, because the thing that confuses me, right, with this driver is I don't know who it's aimed at. I don't know if it's aimed at everybody, if it's aimed at someone who just needs loads of forgiveness, someone who wants lower spin, a bit more distance as well. I don't really know. I guess that's why there's 4 models there, so you can fit someone into each of them. But certainly I was expecting it to probably be lower spin than it is, having, you know, I don't know whether I've just been pulled in by the marketing hype like some of you will have, or I've read and watched other reviews that people have done, but I was certainly expecting it to kind of spin a bit less than I was getting here, and potentially go a little bit further, but certainly I'd be happy with the performance. I mean, it's, when we look at all the other reviews that we've done so far, it's probably a little bit down distance wise compared to them, but I was probably expecting it to be, because it's that Max model. I'd expect it to be slower, I'd expect it to spin a little bit more and maybe not go quite as far. For me, that might be completely different when you try it, but that's why we do get custom fitted, why we try different shafts and loft options and stuff like that. But it's kind of the numbers I'd expect to see in terms of the height with my own driver. Ball speed's maybe a touch down on where I'd like to see it. Club head speed's maybe a little bit down, but like I say, this might be me that's doing this. So what I'm actually going to do is hit some shots with other drivers as well, and in a later video we'll compare how this is performing with all those other ones that we've tried. So we'll look at QI10, we'll look at the Paradigm AI Smoke, we'll also look at the new Dark Speed in Cobra, and we'll probably hit some other models as well. Get loads of data in here and kind of then compare one against the other, and sort of see whether there is a difference in the club head speed that we're getting because of the size, or whether it's just me who's not swinging very well. But certainly it's been great to hit that driver. It's one that I've been wanting to hit for since I heard it was coming out, and particularly having hit the TaylorMade 10K one as well, and this whole 10K story around MOI and forgiveness and hitting the ball as straight as possible. It was good to see exactly how that performed. I mean, when we look at the dispersion, I would say it's pretty good. Yeah, it certainly doesn't really blow me away in terms of other drivers that I've tried this year. It's good, don't get me wrong, and it's pretty tightly dispersed of the shots that I've hit, as you can see there. But, you know, I think I've hit some of the other ones just as well in terms of where the balls have ended up. Now, whether that's obviously because of I'm used to certain head shapes and I find them easier to time it or hit it better, I don't know. Like I say, it's interesting that we can see that in some later videos. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel when we're going to do some comparisons of all these models as well, and see if there are those subtle differences in, you know, is one driver easy to shape? Does one go straighter? Does one come off the face quicker? I don't know that at the minute. I know from all the ones I've hit which ones I think might be slightly better for me, but that might not be the best one for you. So hopefully you've enjoyed that video. If anything, it kind of highlights that you should go and get custom fitted for all these models as well. Keep watching the channel, because there's going to be loads more videos coming. We're taking all these drivers out to Portugal next week. We're going to film some more kind of side-by-side reviews as well, and show you exactly how each model compares to one another. But for now, keep watching our content to help you play more, play better, and we'll see you soon.